Hey guys, Doyle again. Welcome back to the series finale of the Photon Hypernova case opening. Got some really exciting news to share first and foremost. Way back at the start of the series, I did set aside a box for a close friend to open. I wanted to quickly go through the highlight pulls for that. And gotta say, we would have had a 10 out of 10 box out of that 12th box. Got our third copy of Theosis and our second copy of Pressured Planet Wraith Sauce, so both fantastic secret rare pickups. Also completed a couple of play sets, both of Big Welcome Labyrinth and Levitane Generator Boss of Shadows. We did get a few extras in a Tier Limits Kashtira and a Gold Pride Star Leon, which actually brings our total number of extra counts, and for extras here I am just counting basically cards that were over the top of play sets, up to 7, and notably all 7 of these were ultra rares. So gotta say, very happy with that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the analysis, but I wanted to make sure we got the full numbers laid out there. And notably, again, no completely extra unnecessary secret rares. Everything was within a playset or 3 copies. So for that, very excited, very happy. Let's go ahead and take a look at kind of how we did for the master set with just a quick kind of walkthrough, and obviously I'll be putting in these last 4 cards as well. So let's take a dive in. So from the start, very happy just going through. If you guys are interested in looking at the actual set list for these cards, that's obviously available online. You can find that on Yugipedia or any of the Konami official kind of set lists, sponsored set lists websites that you can track down. They're very easy to find. A quick search for Photon Hypernova set list will get you there. So notably, very happy on the Kashtira stuff. Got our Rise Hearts, got our Tier Limits Kashtiras. Going ahead, just kind of going through some of the common play sets here and some of the supers. Lots of the great legacy support. We got our playset of our Beargrams. All of our retrain support. Love some of the retrain stuff that they've thrown in here. And so on to page, I think we're probably on page 8 at this point, or page 10, where we actually do see one of the first cards that we didn't get a full play set of out of this set, and that is Grand Goignal, the Dusk Dragon. A little bit sad not to have gotten this one. I know this is a fantastic card for the archetype and just in general, I mean, obviously collectability standpoint, but it is an ultra rare, so it should be a pretty easy pickup. Moving ahead, lots of foiling on the extra deck monsters. Really happy to see kind of the completion status of these. Our Synchros, our Xyz, got our Sargus, got our flagship. And there's a second one. As you can see, we did get all 3 of our Kashtira Arise Hearts on the left, and we'll just go ahead and slot in that third and final copy of Levitane. So we've got 2 more pages complete here as well. Let's jump ahead. Some of the spells. And this is where we get into kind of the meaty stuff, so to speak. So like I said, we did get our 3rd copy of Theosis, which I have to say, that card alone pumps this the support that we pulled out of this case up into playability. For Wraithsoth, probably just going to play a Terraforming in place of the 3rd. I actually considered playing a Primeval Planet Perlarino, one of the Tier Limits field spell support, to maybe replace the 3rd slot. As a longtime Dark World player, I hate drawing a ton of field spells in one hands that are all the same, that you can't really use because you don't have enough other resources. And certainly I do think that there is room for experimentation with that, because obviously Kashtira Tier Elements would be searchable by that as well. But so there's our second formal missing card, our 3rd copy of the Kashtira field spell, but still not doing too bad so far. It's our first secret we're missing. Now, over to probably the most notable absence of this case, and I do think it's very important to make a point here in terms of you guys watching this video who may be consumers and interested in picking up this product. Based on the fact that we did only get the one Triple Tactics thrust in a case, and again, that's 12 boxes of Photon Hypernova, it is pretty clear to see that even though we have had some of the ratios of cards cleaned up in North America, clearly there is still some short printing to be had here, or at least some indicators of short printing for sure. You're not getting this card in, you know, every other box basically that you open. So that is something to keep in mind. This is an incredibly competitive card. I'll probably be using this card at locals this weekend. So even the one copy, I still feel it's worth playing. It is an exceptional card. It's definitely very strong. But certainly having the full play set, or even just two of that, is something that if you're at a place like I am right now where you only have one, you probably will still want to have more of this for the upcoming format. So definitely a really important point as a consumer to think about, where even within the case we did only get one copy of this. So just something to keep in mind. So that would be cards number 3 and 4 were missing from our full master set so far. Let's jump ahead. Okay, nothing over here. We got our Trivikarma Ultra Rares. And so on to the end of the traps. We did get our full play sets of Waybridge, and let's go ahead and slot in our third and final copy of Big Welcome Labyrinth, completing our play set there as well. So feeling really, really good. Let's go ahead and jump to the next one. Okay, so on to the 5th card that we're missing our playset of, so Gold Pride Leon. I will say, compared to Triple Tactics Thrust, not as concerned about this one necessarily. If you go online, look up any of the websites you can find for Yu-Gi-Oh! Card prices, like TCG Player, Troll and Toad, etc. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. Those are just websites you may see out there. You'll see that this card's actually fairly affordable. I think it's somewhere between $5 and $10 right now, even though this set has just come out. So that one's a pretty easy follow-up trade pickup for sure. But that is our 5th card we're missing from the master set. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to the next page. And on the note of the Gold Pride support, we do see our 6th card we're missing, and that is our 3rd copy of the Gold Pride search spell, Gold Pride The Crowd Goes Wild. This one, I actually haven't checked the price on this. I do think that the Gold Pride archetype as a whole is a little bit on the more budget friendly side, so I don't think it's that much. I'll have to confirm that. Now, just today, they did actually announce new accessory support for the Gold Pride archetype. There's a new binder, new deck mat, sleeves, deck box coming out actually this summer. So we may actually see the price of this goes up depending on if this deck catches on. We'll have to see. But so that's our card number 6. And as you can see, jumping ahead, we pretty much wrapped up everything else. The only thing we were missing was our 3rd copy of Gravekeeper's Inscription, which brings our total number of cards missing from the master set. So that's a full play set, or 3 copies of every card in the set, to 7, which, all things considered, that's pretty good overall. Obviously, we are missing the majority. I think 6 out of 7 of these that we are missing are secret rares. Some of them certainly more budget friendly than others. Even Gravekeeper's Inscription, I don't believe is too much right now. I do think it's more than the Gold Pride stuff. I want to say it's somewhere between $20 and $40 for that. But the Triple Tactics Thrust, those cards are, you're looking at $80 minimum for a copy, probably closer to $100 with your local exchange rate and all of that. So that does complete everything for our master set. So again, that's 7 cards total that we are missing. Pretty happy with that overall. That's really not a lot. And from a competitive standpoint, we'll get more into that in the breakdown. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on over to look at sort of our findings for this set and do our recap and sort of what this means and what the next steps are for us as consumers here. Hey guys, welcome to the analysis portion of our Photon Hypernova case recap. So let's go ahead and jump into this product and see how we really did.
So, overall, we did well. Like we said in the Master Set review, we did get 293 out of 300 cards from the Master Set, which is a playset of every card in the set, excluding Starlights, with 7 missing cards broken out into 1 missing Ultra Rare and 6 missing Secrets. Now, the good news over the top of that is that we did get 7 extra ultra rares left over for additional trade value that we can trade at our local card store or local Yu-Gi-Oh tournament shop or with your local card vendors. Now, based on the TCG player market value, which is an amalgamated market average, and we'll talk about what that number means shortly, the missing cards do account for about $335 Canadian or $248 USD in missing potential value. Now, that may seem like a large number, but when we dig into that, a whopping 85.59% of that, or 287 Canadian or 212 USD, is missing from exactly 3 cards, and that's 2 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust and 1 copy of Pressured Planet Ratesoth. So, there's a very important question there with these 2 cards being the biggest offenders. Do you really need these cards? And as a, potential player, you really need to take a look at cards like this and really consider like, hey, am I casual? Am I trying to be competitive? And how much do these cards really matter, especially for completing full play sets? Sometimes you can get away with 2 or even 1-ups for these types of cards, and I know we talked a little bit about potentially having alternatives for the Cashier Field spell on the right there, so there may be other options depending on the cards in question. So, take a look at what the pros are doing, watch some deck profiles, listen to some of the other Yu-Gi-Oh content creators around YouTube, and construct your own opinion on sort of what may or may not be the right fit for you based on your budget and your playstyle and your interest in the card game as a whole. So time to cut to the chase. How much are our cards worth? This is kind of the meat and potatoes of the whole discussion, and the answer to that overall, and we'll break it down in a minute, but overall is $1,183.37 Canadian, or $876.57 USD. And yes, the exchange rate there is a killer. But a really important point to clarify there. So number one, obviously, with this being a $1,200 case, we actually did quite well in terms of overall card game, value representation from our case. With that being said, so I'm going to break down what the numbers are. $1,118.73 Canadian, or $828.69 of that USD, was from what we compiled in our master set. And that's just based off of the prices of your secrets and your ultras. And there's an additional 64.64 Canadian or 47.88 USD in those extra ultra rares, which again we talked about earlier. We can take to our local card shop and use potentially for more trade value to fill out our master set and get a little bit of our money back in that regard. So that sounds great overall, and to be clear, this doesn't include the value of the commons or even the super rares at all. So, theoretically, there is still even a tiny little bit of extra overhead on top of all of that. However, there's a really important point to address in this before we get excited and be like, oh great, we can go out and spend all of our money and get a full return on our card value, right? And that is that this is all based on existing amalgamated price listings on TCG Player that were recorded days before this video is released, so these are likely no longer accurate even at the time of release, and likely far less. So, a couple of things. Number one, I didn't put these numbers together based off of multiple distribution sites, so if you're ordering from Troll and Toad or some other distributor supplied by Konami, and again, I should mention I'm not affiliated or sponsored with any of these companies, but I just grabbed it for ease of use and honestly ease of search. These should all be resources that are incredibly easy for you to use, and any of you watching this to go find and take a look and do a little bit of your own research as well. But what's most important about this is number one, so we talked about the market average or the market price listings for these. Those are averages that TCG Player puts together itself over the course of, months, as these products are released and as their prices fluctuate and as all kinds of these other factors in the background, contribute to that mapping of their price trends. And these are subject to daily price fluctuations, and buyouts. So I'll talk to each of those points separately. Daily price fluctuations are where, over the course of a day, each individual card that we talk about here can have changes as little as pennies and as large as, tens or 20s or even 50s of worth of dollars in individual card value, depending on the competitive landscape, how popular cards are, and again, buyouts, which for those of you who don't know, a buyout is basically when a specific card or set of cards is targeted by, card resellers, business owners, etc., or even collectors as a potential long-term or even high short-term investment resource for them. So they go, oh, okay, there's 100 copies of Pressured Planet Raceoff, so let's go ahead and buy all of those up off the market. So they make this huge upfront investment, and then they'll hold those cards until the value of them skyrocket. And then you sell them all back and make a massive profit off of it. If you're looking for a classic example of this, I've got to crack a joke here. Ask Farfa about his War Rock Mountain collection. I'm sure he'd love to tell you all about it. But in the meantime, these are important factors for us all to consider because ultimately any card games, card market, or aftermarket, you could say, is very volatile. You may lose a lot of money in a very short period of time, so sometimes it's better to sell quickly. Sometimes it's better to sell in the long term. You really have to sit down, listen to the videos about what the pros are talking about, watch card market videos. There's lots of great resources on YouTube for you guys to check out price trends and things like that. And lots of great Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creators who are happy to share that content. So these are all factors to keep in mind, but let's recap. So overall, this was a great distribution of pulls with no wasted secret rares, and that's absolutely a highlight of this case for us. There were no Starlights, however, and you should really never bank on getting Starlights, and unfortunately I have a bit of a bad habit of doing that. I actually got quite lucky on a number of consecutive products, getting multiple, or I should say multiple consecutive Starlights across multiple products, but that's never something you should really bank on. They're just an element of the pulls. For now, we are relatively close to breaking even at our cost, even with the kind of day-to-day price fluctuations and expected buyouts and all of that. We can say that we are very close to getting our value back, because even with that value that might be missing, again, we didn't account for super rares, commons, etc. So there's still a little bit of hidden value behind that, for better or worse. And now one point to emphasize on all of this is that we can still get back some more money, and we're likely going to be doing that very soon at locals with those extra ultra rares. However, for you as a consumer, if you're thinking about buying this product, the single most important point you can keep in mind is your budget and the scope of what you actually want to do as a player. Because 9 times out of 10, buying singles is probably going to be more cost effective. For example, we're still missing, and we saw earlier, over $250 worth of cards, even just in the last 7 we're missing from the master set. But at the same time, it really does come down to sort of what you're looking for. If you're looking for a lot of cards, if you're looking to build a card inventory and have a backlog of cards for you to pull from for a long term, if you're interested in playing the game for a long time even. Then honestly, if that's the route you're interested in, a case may be the way to go, and you can just, again, sell back your extras and recoup some of the costs through trades and all of that. So these are all factors to consider. With that, I think that actually wraps up the Photon Hypernova case unboxing series. So thank you all for everyone who decided to tag along for the ride and follow us all the way through the polls and the commentary and the sort of ups and downs of this case. And I hope this information was informative. If it was, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and keep an eye out for more awesome content like this. And again, let me know if this is an interesting format for you guys. I realize it got released over a long time period, but I do think that the payoff was quite interesting. And I hope this was informative for you, whether you're an experienced Yu-Gi-Oh player who knows about all this stuff and is just looking for more data, or if you're a brand new person just kind of looking to see what actually goes into, the potentially higher end of spending in this game as well. But on that note, that's all for me, guys. This is Doyle, signing off from the Photon Hypernova case unboxing series. Thanks, guys, and have a good one. Bye.